Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy night to join me. I really appreciate it. Both myself and alter ego Speedy Gonzalez really do appreciate you watching my show here, right? As I appear at the screen, sort of cross eyed, looking in like many different directions at one time, all while simultaneously maintaining a look that is very similar to some like mannequin heads that I get that have like this fake looking hair on it. I can assure you that my hair is not fake. But I will tell you this, as you get older and you get white hair on your head, it is like not the same kind of malleableness as like real hair. Or like other hair. What I'm saying is that as I speak to you, there's like at least 12 white hairs protruding their dirty little white selves outside of my scalp, and each one of them, each one of those white hairs, I got way too excited, I guess. The phone fell. I'm not sure. It could be the apartment ghost. But, anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the white hairs. So they're like elastic, yo. I'm just saying. Let me be the voice in your head that when the first white hair pops out of your head, you're like, damn, it's literally like elastic. I'm not making this up. It's not hair. Like, I'm wondering, like, what my body's doing, because it's certainly not growing hair. It's growing, like, what appears to be hair, and it's white, but it's, again, not hair, like, in any sort of other way. Not by texture. No, I don't know about taste. I'm not eating my hair. I definitely was going to say that, but I thought about what I was going to say. So, anyways, tonight let's talk about proms. Okay, and let me tell you that like I'm 37 now, so when my experience with proms is as follows. Okay, and so shout out to here and all over the country, right? We now have the very same freshman class, the pandemic freshman class, right? These young people were freshmen when the pandemic was at its highest peak, and so they were freshmen and now they're seniors. And now we gotta safely assume that they were more than just impacted by the pandemic, but that they may or may not be, inspired to do really awesome things. And so I think that's the case. And I shout out to all of the young people out there who are going to go out into the world and make a positive change and difference. Just know that you might get frustrated, because half the world's on fire and the boomers and Xers have kind of made a real awkward situation for everybody. But, like, if you work together with like Gen Z and millennials, pick and choose. Obviously, of course, I really feel like there can be a real awesome beneficial future for your children, and for your kids, because that's kind of weird to think about, right? When you're 18, but that's just the way that the world works. One day you guys will have kids and they'll have kids, and it's really important that they're set up in as much of a way as that we could possibly set them up to be successful. And even if that's not what we're currently doing to you. So I'm also sorry on behalf of anyone over the age of 40 who has and will actually make your life probably the most difficult it's ever been in these upcoming years. So just capping off on that, right? Because it wouldn't be Vlogs About Nothing if we didn't absolutely troll everything that we said, even in good faith, right? But proms. Okay, so I can remember that the first prom I ever went to was when I was a sophomore, right? And so typically at my high school, proms were reserved for upperclassmen or whatever, but there was a handful of us underclassmen that thought we were cool enough to go to the senior prom. So I graduated in 2006. And so that means that I would have attended prom in 2004, 2005, and in 2006. Each one of those years that I attended prom was a real good experience. I know that my senior prom obviously was by far the most memorable of all those different proms. Although, actually, in retrospect, I actually preferred my junior prom. That was the same year that anyways, the junior prom was my favorite prom, I think. But the senior prom had a lot more long lasting memories, even if some of them were bittersweet. I just had wrapped up or was about to wrap up a high school relationship. That was kind of, a thing. We had gone to all of our proms together, all of our homecomings, all of these different types of things, right? And, it was, I had a real good experience in high school with all that different type of stuff. And, my advice to anyone and everyone out there who's about to experience their prom is to definitely be safe, right? So, first and foremost, you can't have any fun if you're not safe. And being safe involves communication. So, don't be all shady, don't be sus. You're almost adults, you feel me? Reach out and talk to other adults before you make decisions that may or may not impact you for the rest of your life in a bad way. So, if you're going to be drinking, tell somebody, right? Make sure you're not driving drunk. Do these very basic things, and I can assure you, you will begin your adult path in the most beneficial, positive way that can be made possible, right? And so, just truly, you got to be careful, and then obviously, enjoy yourself. Like, be in the moment. Understand that it's something that will never happen again. And in 20 years, like, hopefully you're not sitting on your bed talking to yourself about nothing to yourself on a broken and disconnected phone. I mean, we all got standards, right? So let me be your guide to what you should never become. And that's all that I'm saying, right? So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy being young. Enjoy being a young American, moreover, right? Because understand that we live in a world that in other places and in other parts of it, they could just dream and fantasize about the kinds of experiences that we're able to have here at the cost of so many. And again, putting that into perspective, be humble and experience a good time for what it is and understand what to be grateful for and what to be appreciative of. Those people around you, the people that have made you who you are, you understand this, they're always going to be a part of your life, even if they're not going to be a part of your life moving forward. And so, in that sense, in that very basic sense, just be safe and enjoy the American prom experience. Because I tell you, for those of us that have experienced this very privileged time and have had a positive experience with it, there's nothing like it. Again, there's nothing like it. There's not a second of any one of those three different proms that I had attended in high school. Not any of them were bad. Like, we had the time of our lives, every single one. And I'm very grateful for that. Again, like, I may not have a lot, and all those different types of things, or as I've said in the past, a gaggle of like models sitting on a Lambo while I'm puffing on a Cubo. You feel me? Like, like I know that I've been very privileged to experience things that mean a lot to me, and that didn't necessarily cost that much. And that's also the other thing is, the thing about proms is they cost money. And so, now's the time to like either ask, like an adult for a little bit of money, and not to be upset if they don't got the extra cash, you feel me? Mom and dad might not have it, but like, ask a friend. This is where you may or may not find out who your friends are, right? Because again, that's important. It's important to, understand that you can enjoy the experience sitting around a table at Buca de Beppo with 12 other people, and the bill comes and it's $600, that you can apply your fair share to said bill and to the tip, and everyone can go on happy about their night. And I can tell you the last time that I funded a prom dinner was just a couple of years ago. And in fact, I do believe that I funded more than two. I think I funded three. So shout out to my ex who never paid me back a single dime for any time that I had ever paid for her almost grown son to attend some of these experiences in life that he would not have otherwise experienced. So, I mean, yeah, I know that's a little dirt on some end of the video here, but it is the truth. And for the record, that young man didn't even know that I did that, right? Like, because I didn't want credit for it. So, yeah, I still don't want. I'm just saying that for the record, that young man would not have had the 2 nights that he would have had at his things. And I'm just saying that, like, what I'm saying is, no, I'm not trying to be no Richard about this. I'm saying that, like, somebody asked his mom asked. Whether or not she gave me credit for it, that does not matter. It's not what we're discussing. Somebody asked, right? He asked her, she asked me, I gave said money, There's all different types of ways to make sure that you have enough money to make sure you have a good night, right? That's all that I'm saying. So, like, now's the time, you feel me? Start asking around. You need an extra 40 bucks or what? Because again, prom's also very expensive, and so is anything and everything else you may or may not want to buy for your prom night. So first you got to get the tickets, which your school probably charges you for, and then you got to get like an outfit, which you got to pay for, and then you got to get a ride, which you're either going to Uber for or wait around for somebody to carpool, or if you're lucky enough have your own car, at which point you're already paying an exorbitant amount of money in maintenance and just having insurance and keeping it registered and all these different things. So life is very expensive. So enjoy it. You feel me? Enjoy it and be safe, right? And don't feel stupid if you don't have as much money as the next person or whatever like that, because that's not what this night's about. Just try to make sure you have what you can to contribute to the evening of fun, and try to really, now you guys are young adults again, start talking with each other. And again, like, $20 amongst friends ain't gonna change nobody. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're straight up crazy. You feel me? God dang, $20 is like what most of us spend on a single lunch. Okay, so like all I'm saying is this isn't 1970 anymore, and we should all just feel a little bit more like open to helping people with our wallets, and not just like, hey, it's gonna be okay. So like actual action. But anyways, hey, getting out of character here. Proms are fun, and in my life, there's some young people, that are about to embark on their journey and have that experience, and I'm really happy for them. Honestly, I'm happy for anyone that ever does anything good for themselves, or that is just generally happy. I mean, because I'm kind of like a happy guy, and these things are way more important than landing the next stock score, or like the next draft picked like parlay. I mean, the things in life that we prioritize, sometimes they're not in alignment with the things that we actually value, and I just am trying to go on that, and so again, I have never had anything but the time of my life at any outside school event in high school, and I wish everybody had that experience. I want everybody to feel that way. Not everybody's going to, not everybody has. I understand that, and I'm sorry to those people who haven't had the time of their lives. That's what it's about. That's what it's for. So do it, do it. Like, just do it. And understand that, again, now is you're just starting out. And again, I'm sorry that we've set you up for failure. But don't let that get in your way, seriously. Enjoy your evening at prom. Have fun. Do not drink and drive. Never get into a car with anybody, including your best friend of the last 16 years. You could have, like, shared the same bathtub together when you were newbies. I don't care. Do not get in the car with anyone that's had anything at all to drink. And if, in fact, a moment arises, I understand that snitches get stitches, but in this case, it might actually turn out that the stitches end up being on the person that may or may not, actually have benefited from the snitch in that time, you feel me? So just do not drink and drive, and make sure that your friends do not drink and drive. Their life is just as important as your life, and collectively, your lives are just as important as all of the other lives of all of the other people that are going to randomly be on the roads that evening that you guys celebrate a really awesome time of your life, okay? So just be careful. Seriously, I know I'm sounding like some type of way, but I'm not trying to. It's just some sound advice. Take it or leave it. Except don't leave that. Absolutely take that advice, and do nothing more than take that advice, and I absolutely mean it. Anything else at all that I've said, in the past, now, whatever, it's all a joke. But as it concerns people and society safety and others around you, I'm never joking, and I don't care what type of way I sound. I'm just trying to be safe, and it's better to be safe than it is sorry, and all of those things, and yeah. So have a good time, American proms. There's nothing like them. Again, if you know, you know. and that's what I'm saying. So yeah, enjoy being a part of the wealthiest country that's ever been on the surface of this planet. And again, those are facts. I'm not making this stuff up. So, and be empowered, right? But also understand that that the experience will end, and so just be in the moment, be safe, and good luck in life. Good luck, right? Not especially to those people that are going to their senior proms. If you're going to your prom as a junior, I mean, this is just practice for your senior year, just take it from somebody who had 2 years of practice himself before he went to the senior prom. It just makes you that much more experienced so that next year when it comes along, you already know like what room to get and like who's cool to hang with who, and who spent too much on an Uber and who clearly needs to carpool with Justin because he lives closer to Maggie than Tracy did. And you understand what I'm saying? These are all fictional names, but you see what I'm saying. So like you can take this experience as a learning kind of a situation, so that next year again you're like the go-to. You feel me? Everyone's giving their money to you so that you can facilitate any and everything that may or may not happen that evening, and absolutely within safe, proximity of other people that are like-minded and that they want to be safe. That's all. So, anyways, can you imagine all of that could have been summed up by just like saying be safe and then just moving on or whatever? But no, I gotta I gotta like go into great detail as to like why I'm thinking some of these things. It's all good. God, American Prom is something else. Again, like it's just something that you're always gonna remember, and it's fun. My God, my night was fun. We had so much fun that night. We had so much fun my senior prom. Seriously, my junior prom was more like about a group of people and us doing that. And my senior prom was really about my high school sweetheart and I, and we had a great night. You feel me? Like that's like we had a great night, probably a perfect night. I tell you this much, the night ended with me leaving my car on Manolan University at what used to be the Holiday Inn. And, I left it there and subsequently walked 11 miles to my parents' house on Paseo in Wyoming. So I walked, Google it, I don't care. I walked from University of Manal to Paseo in Wyoming, and that was in a three-piece rented tux in my brand new Bostonian shoes. And again, I had my keys, but my car was far away from me, so I ended up walking. Clearly, at some point in the evening, I ended up on foot, and so I remember waking up at like 6 the next day at my house, in my parents' house, and we had to get a ride to go get my car and things like this. But I made it home safely, and that was a crazy walk. That was a crazy walk. I've been walking for a long time, and I'm 37 now. That was when I was 17, 18. So I've put in my work walking around this lovely town of Albuquerque. You can bet you're behind. That is, I'm not like, again, there's some people that like just say these things, and there's other people that are like, yo, my car was left on Manolan University and I walked home, and it was 11 miles, and it took like 7 hours. I started walking at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get to my parents' house till like 10:30, 11. It was wild. Like it was a wild night, but again, it was a safe night. So I also lost my cell phone. I'm always losing my cell phones. That's been a thing that I've lost for well over 20 years now. Anyways, I hope that you guys are doing awesome. Have a really good night. Again, if you're prepping for your prom, be safe, be smart, think about things before you do them, but also enjoy your time. Enjoy the time away from other adults. The people that you're around now are your colleagues. These are your future cohorts. These are the very future same people that you're going to blame for problems in the world in 20 years, you know? It's just kind of the cycle of how these things go. But until that time comes, you know, you can enjoy being absolute 100% genuine, authentic friends and share the same common core beliefs and all these different kinds of things, you know? American prom. Have a really good night. Thanks for watching. Bye.